Hello everyone. In this series of video I will start to overlook some simple things in Unity, how to make your game performance quite good, and in this video I will start with simple FPS counter. Here I have a scene where I have implemented my own FPS counter. So what it does, it basically counts frames per second rate at the live time and reports it to screen. But it's not over that it is just reporting. I can use this counter to modify how my game will run. So let's actually get started from the script. I wrote quite big. Well, it's not very big, it's less than 100 lines, and it do something else. It also works with some loop measuring times and so on to because I am wondering about all performance in my scripts. So let's actually open a completely new project and start it from scratch. Okay, so file, new project, and where I want to set it, I want in Unity projects, and I want to name it tutorial FPS. Save. Great. It was some changes. Okay, so I have here very empty scene. If I will click run, it does nothing, but here I have editor frames per second counter. It counts, and I want to check what performance is in real game and how it depends on time and so on, and if I could use this number in my games to, let's say, to modify something to slow down, to speed up, or something like that, that I would always have something like good performance. So let's get started by creating a C# script. Checked. FPS count, and let's open it. I am using text strangler. So here I have an old one which I don't need. Here I have my default code. Okay, so when you're starting a new script, you usually have some very basic stuff which actually do nothing. In Unity, I do not have a script attached anywhere, but let's see, if I am dragging it on my camera inspector menu, I will get this script attached to my camera and it will be always running. Here is a tick which I could tick to remove my FPS counter, and yeah, that's basically it. So I want that it would be running all the time, and now let's get started actually. I will use some global parameters and also some local parameters. But let's take a look. Here are two functions, start and update. I will use some marks, time marks, usually where are many functions in Unity of time marks, but I personally like what is the most simple ones. So what I basically do, I just type into Google Unity time since startup. Yes, so here is the only one function which I want to use, time real time since startup. And yes, so here what I can do is I can make a global parameter private this, let's say t1 equals this one, time real time since startup. Yes, good. Save. Does Unity complain something? Yes, as always, because I cannot do that, but I can do that. Paste here, and t1 equals like that, semicolon. And now, what is now wrong? There is a very bad startup, private float. Yes, and now it's good. So once we're done, we already have a time mark. T1 will be a time at a real startup when this script starting. If you have some kind of different kind of scripts, you can always mark these kind of marks and make them always as a startup point of your script. Let's say I want to have T2, which would be simply another time, and it would be T2. I can put it in update function, copy paste, as we already got this function, and save it. And yes, and if I would click run, nothing would happen because it has these values, but it actually does nothing with them. Now I want to report. What I want to report here, probably I want to report difference between T2 and T1. Yes? Okay, so let's get started, but it is a question where I want to report. I want to report, I could report it here to console, or here, or I could report somewhere in GUI. So I probably want to report in GUI, and I usually don't remember my GUI functions, so I will just copy my one. This one is I wrote previously. This function, what it does, it places a label on the screen, and it has some weird constants, but if you look carefully, these constants are written in the way that I could easily place the number from top left corner. So for example, this one is at the position of how far away it is from left corner, so it is 0.05%. Here is number in percent, and here is also number in percent of from the top to the bottom. So it will be okay. Let's get started, and you will see what will be going on. So what I need to do is to copy this bit, to put it here, not to make any mistakes, and you can just copy and paste this bit I placed here. So Yes. And that's it. And what I want to report here are annoying numbers, which I don't need. I want to report T1 and T2. Yes? Yes. T2. Okay. So it's very basic script, just to report some times. I will probably not need this old one, and yes. So let's actually get it running and I will see what happens. Bump. Here you go. What does it mean? T1 equals 0.036 T2 equals, and it is always increasing. Do you wondering why? If I click pause, you see here T1 is 0.03. It is this one. It has a mark here. It just started and it was marked that startup point is at 0.03 seconds. If my script would start running later, let's say I am making some game objects in my game and my script is running later, so this time would be different. So it is not 0. Where is the first point? Second point, here I have my actual real time at the moment, and it is reporting probably on every frame I am getting, so I probably don't need to update it so frequently, but yeah, let's actually think how we could implement frames per second rate, because usually when we're starting up with so basic things, we don't have FPS, we have just times, but this is enough. This is enough, and what I can do here is to write simple counter. Private int counter. Yes? Yes. Let's set up it counter equal 0. Yes. Counter plus plus. Okay, we know that t is constant, we don't need that. We can save some place and report my counter. Yes? We will see how many updates has passed in my... And let's start removing some unwanted comments to see what's going on. Good. Here you go. Is assigned but never used because... Okay. Yes. Yeah. Let's get started. So here is my counter, but oh, it is not updating because I left T1. Now it will be working. Yes, you see. Counter is increasing. Time is increasing. So what we can do from that? Huh? Can you guess now? Firstly, I can calculate simple average. Simple average of all time which has passed from the beginning of script. Okay, and it would merge as some value, but it would be not useful at all. Let's try it. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to do another value, private float FPS average, and that's it. This is not our final value because we will keep modifying it, but for now let's look what it does. So simply I will just, as we have seen, both of them are increasing, so I will just assign FPS average as counter how much frames per second. Counter is the number of frames, time is Pt2. Yes, okay. And I do not report it. FPS average, okay, I probably don't need this one, so let's replace this. FPS AV. Yes, okay. And here Command C, Command V. As I'm working on max, you see this max, and yeah, let's get started. Here is my average counter. What you can see here, you can see that these values are changing, but it seems to be averaging up. So what I have here is the average of my frames per second, and you can see that it's around 60. Yes, so you have already basic FPS counter, but it's changing too much. It's changing too rapidly, and it doesn't depend a lot if my local value will change. That actually it's fluctuating not very much, but it is a very large average of large number over all this time and divided by counter. You see that at the beginning we had changes at the third significant digits. Now we are changes at fifth significant digits. So it could be a good solution if you want to measure long-term frames per second, but this is not our goal for this tutorial. Just keep in mind that you can calculate average in long terms when you need to find out how your game is evolving, or how your performance is changing over the entire game, and you can do basically you can decide what to do with this kind of stuff. So okay, let's keep going, and what I need to do here is I want to introduce a coroutine, so-called enumerator. Yes, and it would be message update. Coroutine has to get one parameter, wait for seconds, so it should has, and I want that it would never stop. So a standard of such coroutine is while true do something. What to do? Nothing, just to count something. Yield, actually return yield new wait for seconds. Yes, what value we want to put here? Let's say I want to put 0.2. Yes, it means 0.2 seconds to wait here. What to put here doesn't matter. And now my coroutine will be not running because I didn't call it from anywhere. And this is what I usually done. I forgetting. It starts yield return. I was correct at the beginning. Yes, as you see. Okay. Yield return new wait for seconds 0.2. This one does nothing. Now what I want to do, I want that my message would be updated every 0.2 frames. And I want to calculate average of my frames per second in this frame. Yes? So what I can do here, actually, where is needed to copy this line here? Yes, because we want to calculate frames per second. Okay, private float FPS. Now it will be the real value which we will use here. And what we want to do, we want to write FPS is equal again counter divided from time. Yes, this is still not very correct because we can see here when we start coroutine it's different, it's not the same as update, and we will see what is the difference very soon. Now what I want to do, I probably want to reset counter when I calculating my frames per second, because I want my FPS to be local, not for entire game. Okay, so what I want to do here is to set counter equals 0. Yes. And yes, so what it will do, when it will come here, counter will be resetted to 0. Yes. Then during the update, during this 0.2 seconds, it will keep going until the moment comes here and my FPS is counted. And here is also need to be done a little bit of modification. We do not use this value, yes, because it's a constant. Okay, so what I can do here is that I could just change this one value together at this step. So look, if I will write like that, it will be perfect. Yes? Yes. I didn't change a lot. I just subtracted 0.03 seconds here because it's constant now. Yes? Actually, let's get reported this one to see what is going on. Yes, it will be incorrect now. But let's look what it is. As you see, it's starting to do something, but it's incorrect because yes, because it's probably this is not correct way to count, but what I can do here is to do what? Let me check. Counter divided by time minus 31. I need also to reset this value because this one is always increasing and it is very large number. Yes, so T1 is equal T2. Yes? Yes. Now we approach the balance. Let's check if it is working firstly. It's somehow not working. I don't like that. FPS is counter. What is counter? Counter is 0 here. It is here. Why it is not working? Maybe because I'm doing something weird. Let's increase it a little bit more and check what is going on. Usually when you're starting to write code, you usually facing these kind of issues. Oh, I know what is the problem. I didn't start the message update coroutine. Oh, very usual for me to forget this. Start coroutine. Yeah, and that's natural. I mean, if it's not running, what it can count? It's 0. 0, because here is 0. And now let's look. So yes, this is a way I am building the code, and eventually I am well, a different kind of people how they build code. I find it out quite good to keep looking what is going on in real game and going back to check and what can be wrong and so on. So yes, so here it is. Here is my FPS counter, which is now updating every. Okay, let's actually remove this value because it's only disturbing us. Yes, yes, FPS, not average but FPS. So yes, you can see that it's updating very smoothly every 0.4 seconds, and my frame rate is about 60. This is probably because fixed update is set to 0.02. I can change it under some settings here in my where is that? Project settings and time. And here is probably the fixed time step. I can reduce it, let's say, as I have an empty scene, I want 0.02, yes. I don't want to save it. Or I want to save it. File, save scene. And save as, because if it will crash, it will be down. Demo, yes. Enter. Let's check if it works. So yes, I still have the same value, and I don't know. It could be that it is averaging out. I can test with smaller values. Let's say here I put it 0.05 second, 0.5 seconds. But if I would go close to update point, yes, I would see this value fluctuating very much. Yes, because it's this coroutine is updating very quickly, and yeah, and I can have this kind of effects. So it's usually, naturally, you don't have FPS counter. Usually you have times. You have times, and you measuring times, and you calculating FPS. So this failed one, FPS average, is no longer needed. We can delete it to free up computing space. And let's look if I don't need something else. I guess this is it. This is the final version of the code. Here is my FPS count. This almost concludes my first tutorial on simple FPS counter. And yes, here I set 0.02, and let's check it. It's yes. So here I'm not very happy that I should always put my numbers here in message update, but I can make a global parameter, let's say public float message update time equals 0.0. Let's see, let's keep it like that. Yes, save and bring it here. So I can have control of this from here. Yes, so I have 0.4 seconds. I don't need to go back. I can keep closed my scripts. I don't need to even care if I did anything like that before. And I have every 0.04 seconds updating. If I want to update 0.02, every 0.02, I have it. If I want to update every 2 seconds, I can do that. Yes, you see it's updating every 2 seconds. If I want to update at 0.02, this is interesting step. Well, it actually does nothing, but yes, so you can see that it is a little bit more fluctuating when I am going down to these values. And yeah, and that's it. That concludes my first video. Next video, as I got this value, I probably don't need so frequently to update. As I got this value, I can start manipulating my game performance, because frames per second is one of the most important thing when you're dealing with performance, to make sure that your game is not lagging and that you can always be happy with that. Okay, so yes, so this is it. This is the conclusion, and see you next time.